There we go. Sorry about that. So yes, now I've got the game, and yeah, it's always fascinated me, this game, just through the setup alone. What happens in the match is nothing could happen, and it's still been fascinating. But it's the fact you've got the rivalry between Germany and Holland go back. So, I mean, obviously, there's a history since the Second World War of Germany occupying Holland. But the 1974 World Cup final, where Beckenbauer's Germany defeated Johan Cruyff's Netherlands in 2-1 in the World Cup final, and that was said to be Holland's World Cup, really, Cruyff's World Cup. And it was kind of his to lose, and the Germans kind of took it away from them. And I think the Dutch will never forget that. Now Beckenbauer, who and one is actually manager of this Germany team going into 90. There's the right. I've got the match playing now in the background that I can see. If you want to watch it as well, it's on the. If you want to watch it as well, it's a sound back. Ron, can you hear me? Excellent. Yeah, if you want to watch the match as well, it's on the FIFA website with no commentary, or on YouTube, on the FIFA's YouTube with English comms. So yeah, as I was saying, the great rivalry between Holland and Germany kind of stems back quite far. 1974 World Cup final, and then 2 years prior to this match was the 1988 Euros, which Holland won, but it was actually in West Germany in the semis where they beat Germany, and two very similar teams now facing up in Italy. Now the match has started. It's a minute in. I'm watching it, and it's already kind of fairly end to end. Holland kind of get on the game straight away, get into the game and get on the ball, and look like they're controlling things, which I'll watch soon. Now they're also both very heavy favourites for the tournament going into it. Both Germany and Holland were right up there, because Germany had finished runner-up in the previous two World Cups, 86 Mexico and 82 in Spain. They were losing finalists, so and then obviously losing in the semis to Holland in the previous Euros. They were going into this kind of fairly well fancied. Holland were going in as reigning European champions with three of the best players in the world at that point, that tournament. Holland had the Trey Tulips from AC Milan, of Van Basten, Gullit and Rijkaard. That AC Milan side was known, or is known, as potentially the greatest team of all time, and according to UEFA's rating, it is the greatest team of all time. They had an invincible season and won many Serie A's and three European Cups. I think this team, and then Inter Milan had the three Germans of Lothar Matthäus, Jürgen Klinsmann, and Andy Bremer. They both played in the San Siro, and this match is in the San Siro. So it brings so much to this game. You've got two of the best club teams in the world kind of facing up at the World Cup in their own backyard. In qualifying leading up to the tournament, Holland and Germany were actually in the same group. They played each other twice, drew twice, and Holland ended up finishing top of that group. So they kind of had the edge on the Germans already. Now, the World Cup had started fairly poorly for the Dutch. They'd drawn all 3 matches they played in against England, Ireland, and Egypt, I believe. Now, Ireland had also drawn all 3 matches, which meant, and they were on the same points and the same goal difference, which meant it went to a coin toss to see who finished higher in the group to go through to the next round, because 3 teams from the group went through, surprisingly. The Dutch lost the coin toss and ended up, which is why they've ended up facing Germany. And if they had won that coin toss, they would have gone to face Romania, I think Ireland had, and would have only ever met Germany in the final of Italia 90, which it could quite easily been the final if they'd have won that coin toss. Now, Germany had a much more impressive group stage. They won 4-1 against a really strong Yugoslavian side, quite fancied Yugoslavian side. So they were kind of going in to this game on much better form in the early stages. But as you know, in World Cups, anything can happen when it reaches the knockout stages. Actually changed their team to 5 at the back to counteract the Dutch in this match and every other game in the tournament. The Germans played at the back. I mean, they have Andy Bremer's a bit of a kind of sweeper or left back, can play left wing, so he roams a bit. So they're never quite static with a formation, but they noticeably change things in this. 5 minutes in, and Rijkaard has a great chance. Hullet robs the German defender of the ball, puts it in, and Rijkaard could have easily finished that, but just misses. Rijkaard actually played midfield for AC Milan, generally played at the back for Holland, centre defence with Ronald Koeman. But when he signed for AC Milan, they had so many good defenders. I think he was moved up into midfield for AC Milan and ended up making it his own. Dutch had a corner, comes to nothing, but they've got, I mean, it's only 6 minutes in now, and they've got much more of this game so far. Now I'll start with the Dutch team. They line up with 8 players who played in the 88 final. Best 2 kits. Yeah, we've got this Germany kit, Dutch kit. I really like as well. It's I've actually ordered one, and I was hoping to get it in time for this, but it hasn't arrived. But it's a great kit. It is very different to the kit they won the Euros with 2 years earlier, which has kind of got the chevrons going across. But yeah, this is a very classic Dutch kit. I like it. Yeah, their team. I mean, Marco van Basten, he is one of, if not potentially the greatest striker of all time. Right, the Dutch just had another great chance, one-on-one with the keeper, header, puts it over the bar. 8 minutes in now, just coming up to. Van Basten, often rated as the best striker of all time, best number 9. What potentially is, for me, maybe original Ronaldo for that, but undoubtedly he was well up there. He won the Ballon d'Or in 1988 and 1989. So coming into this World Cup, he won the previous 2. So I think the only person that would have been rivaling him as the best player in the world at this point would be Maradona, who obviously couldn't win a Ballon d'Or because it was only Europeans at that time. But even so, Van Basten would be rivaling him as one of the greats of the game at this point. Van Basten would actually win it again in 1992 to make it 3 Ballon d'Ors in his career. His time with Ajax, he won 3 titles, Dutch titles, 3 Dutch Cups, top goal scorer in 4 of the seasons he was there. I think that's potentially all 4 seasons he was there. Obviously, like I've said, won the Euros in 88 with Holland, won Serie A in 88-90 in this season where we're watching this match, won the European Cup in 88-89 and 89-90. So going into this tournament, and that was with Rijkaard and Gullit. So going into this tournament, they just won the European Cup and League double. And I think we need to mention that at that point, Serie A was the greatest league in the world and the hardest league in the world. So these 3 really are on top of the footballing world. They also won Serie A in 87, 88. They won the European UEFA Super Cup, Intercontinental Cup, Italian Super Cup in this season as well. And also here, Van Basten scored one of the greatest goals of all time in the Euro 88 final, that fantastic volley set up by Ruud Gullit against Russia in the final. I mean, he's on top of the world going into this World Cup. This could easily been the talked of as the Van Basten World Cup that we're going into, but as we'll find out, it wasn't to be. Oh, the Holland nearly have a goal again. Just went over the bar. Just tried to lob the keeper from outside the box from Wouters. Ruud Gullit, who I just mentioned, setting up that goal. He won the Ballon d'Or in 1987, previous to Marco van Basten's latest 2, and was runner-up to Van Basten in 88. So as you can see, they really are going in with the greats of the game in this one team. Gullit was actually signed by Milan as a kind of big money rival to Napoli's Maradona. They were looking to Germany have a shot from distance, goes over the bar. They were looking to rival Napoli, get the title back from Napoli, who had won it under Maradona 2 or 3 times. And Gullit was this kind of big name, big money signing that they were getting in to do so. Van Basten was actually a much smaller signing for them, who came in at the same time, as a similar time as Gullit, who ended up being the kind of bigger star. When it was all done, Ruud Gullit was Dutch Footballer of the Year in 1984 and 86. He went on to win 2 European Cups with Milan, the same as Van Basten, and won the Dutch League 3 times and the Dutch Cup once. The third Dutch player for that AC Milan team was Frank Rijkaard, who I've mentioned already. He was 3rd place for the Ballon d'Or in 88 and 89. So in that 88 Ballon d'Or, you had Van Basten, Gullit and Rijkaard, top three best players in the world in one year, which is incredible. Obviously, again, Rijkaard won the Euros with Holland, and the same trophies they all won together with Milan. He stayed a bit longer with Milan and won 2 more league titles, and then also went on to win the Champions League with Ajax in 1995, and they actually beat Milan in the final, which is pretty incredible that much later he's going on to win another European trophies, which just shows how impressive of a player he is. Now his time in Holland, he won 5 Dutch titles. He won 2 UEFA Super Cups, one with Milan and one with Ajax. He won 2 Italian Super Cups. He won 3 Dutch Cups with Ajax, and he won 2 Intercontinental, which goes to show how incredible the three players were, both for Ajax and for Holland at this time. Now, the other big star in the Dutch team was Ronald Koeman, who had been at Barcelona for a year before the World Cup. He actually won the European Cup with PSV in 1988, the same year in which he would win the European Cup, with the European Championship, with Holland. And then he wins the European Cup again with Barcelona in 1992, where he actually scores the winning goal. He won 4 Dutch titles at his time in Holland, 3 Dutch Cups, and going into this tournament, he won season with Barca, and he won the Spanish Cup. He went on to win 4 Spanish titles, the UEFA Super Cup and the Champions League, as I've mentioned, scoring the winner in the final. So all in all, they've got these fantastic players in their prime. Now, Gullit, Rijkaard and Koeman were all 27, prime age. Van Basten, 25. Well, even though he was 25, he'd already had numerous injury problems and surgeries on his ankle. He'd actually already had a surgery on his ankle before the Euro 88 tournament. And apparently he didn't have full movement in his ankle when he scored that goal in the final. Gullit was slumming it with Chelsea when Rijkaard was winning his last. Yeah, he was. Yeah. I mean, you think they're the same age? They're actually childhood friends, Gullit and Rijkaard. So the fact Rijkaard was winning the Champions League with Ajax and Gullit was there in his the twilight of his career with Chelsea, I think says something about them as individuals. Rijkaard was known for his stamina and how he would just never stop, go on and on and on. I think Gullit was known for his socializing a little bit more. But yeah, and then this game is where I've got it now. We're about 18 minutes in. Holland are kind of having the majority of the game. Germany just have an attack forward but miss it. And I think it's on, so it's just coming up on the, I'm just going to go forward a little bit because it's the 21st minute where we have a first kind of major incident of the game, which I will explain as I watch it. Fortunately, it's a bit choppy, the stream. So there's a couple of fouls between Rijkaard and Rudi Voller, and Rijkaard gets booked going in quite strong on him. Now this is the first one coming up now, and he goes straight through him, nowhere near the ball, Frank Rijkaard, and referee straight over, yellow card in hand, and no complaints from Rijkaard on that one. Rudi Voller also played in Italy for Roma at this point, so they were well aware of him. As he's walking away there, he seems to spit towards Voller, and Voller's having a bit of a word with him there, and Germany are taking the free kick. Voller gets a yellow card, and I can presume the yellow card is just for him just having a go at Rijkaard, and he shows the referee the back of his head and wipes it with his hand, showing the spit. Now the ball goes in the box. Keeper goes up, claims it. And Rijkaard's not happy with the way the German went in on the keeper, Rudi Voller, and he's gone right over to him, having a go at him again. Voller goes down, and the referee comes over, sends them both off. As they're walking off, Rijkaard spits in the back of his head again. Plain as day, awful. And Voller's they're both walking off the pitch. Voller kind of chasing after Rijkaard now. They're both sent off. Incredible. Now, you found out after the game that apparently Rijkaard had recently divorced from his wife, so it wasn't in a good place before the game, and which could explain his behaviour here, because he spat on Voller twice. Now Voller's running after him down the touchline, just runs straight past him. Doesn't stop, runs straight past him to get off the pitch. Now, Germany has obviously lost their forward in Rudi Voller, but I think more importantly, Holland lost their talismanic player in Frank Rijkaard, and they don't really have anyone else who can come in and do the job he was doing. Whereas I think the Germans have Karl-Heinz Riedler on the bench. And I've got the lineup here. Yeah, they've got Riedler comes on actually. Karl-Heinz Riedler comes on. Frank Mill is their other striker. They've got Olaf Thon on the bench as well. Thomas Hassler, Andreas Müller. They've got plenty going on, whereas the Dutch don't really have a huge amount of backup to kind of strengthen them when they've gone down to 10 men. And I think you can see almost straight away that the Germans are now on top in this game. They've won another free kick that they're putting in. And the Dutch are kind of noticeably rattled, and the Germans just seem like they're carrying on as they were. I mean, still shooting from distance at the moment. Now, this German team, Lothar Matthäus is probably the star of this team, and at this point, he's probably at the height of his powers. He's 29 years old. Like I said before, he plays for Inter Milan, the city rivals of the Dutch trio, and he won the Euros actually with Germany in 1980. I mean, he's obviously 19 years old at this point, so I don't know how much of a part he played of that, but he's got the title to his name. He won at this point. He'd won 3 German titles before the move to Inter Milan. And when he left Inter Milan, he went back to Bayern Munich, where he was, and he win 4 more. He won the German Cup with his first stint at Bayern, and would go on and win 2 more. Now, the big season for Lothar Matthäus at Inter Milan was the 88-89 season, where they won Serie A and stopped AC Milan winning it that year. And that was with Andreas Bremer. Jürgen Klinsmann came the season after. Matthäus actually scored the winner in the game that would see them win the title, and they'd win the Italian Super Cup that year. Matthäus actually goes on to win the Ballon d'Or in this year in 1990, following the World Cup. And then again, he was runner-up in 1991, in which the year he wins the UEFA Cup with Klinsmann and Bremer at Inter Milan. He also wins the UEFA Cup again with Bayern Munich in 95-96. And obviously, spoiler alert, he wins the World Cup in 1990 with Germany. He actually never won a European Cup or Champions League, surprisingly, in his career. But I think Inter Milan were kind of known at this point for underperforming in Europe, but it was very, very different competition because they didn't have the Champions League group stages that they have now. So it was there were a lot more upsets. So and Inter Milan famously went out to Roy Hodgson's FC Malmo when he was there, and because you would play the minnows in the early stages, and they were straight knockouts from the off. So these days, there's so many less upsets because if you lost to Malmo, it'd be in the group stages, and you'd probably still go through anyway. So yeah, unfortunately, never managed to win a Champions League. Klinsmann, Inter Milan as well. He was actually missed out on the Serie A title. Came a year later, didn't really have as much success as Inter Milan had hoped when he came. He went to Inter Milan on the back of being Bundesliga Golden Boot in 87, 88. I think it was for Stuttgart. He was German Footballer of the Year in Germany that year. He was obviously in that UEFA Cup winning team with Inter, and he was also in the UEFA Cup winning team with Lothar Matthäus at Bayern Munich in 1996. As well as this World Cup, Klinsmann would actually win the Euros in 96 as well with Germany. So great season for him that year. And then he'd go on to win the German title in 96, 97 with Bayern Munich, following his first stint with Tottenham Hotspur. Now, Klinsmann, the main thing I remember from Klinsmann was the Klinsmann dive. And I think when he came to the Premier League with Tottenham and the iconic celebration came out, the Klinsmann dive, we were all doing it at school. Sometimes on the concrete, definitely when it was raining on the grass. But yeah, bit of a maybe a cult hero at Tottenham. Came back from for a second stint and was a bit of a saviour to them that time. Andy Bremer, he won the 86-87 title with Bayern Munich, and then when he went back to Germany towards the end of his career, he went back to Kaiserslautern where he was in the early playing days, and he won the German title in 97-98. Like I said, he won the Serie A with Inter in 89, won the UEFA Cup in 91. He had a German Cup in 96 with Kaiserslautern, and he had this fantastic tournament with in Italia 90 with Germany, where he would score the equaliser against England in the semis. That deflected kick off Paul Parker that England fans all know and hate, and he actually scored the winner in the final, which was an 85th minute penalty. Now apparently Lothar Matthäus should have been taking that penalty, but he'd had a broken stud and said he didn't feel comfortable in his boots and asked Bremer to take it, and Bremer went on to score it. And there's been a bit of talk in Germany, I think, things about Matthäus being a bit of a bottler when the big moment comes, because there was a couple of other incidents in his career where he wasn't there, notably the 99 Champions League final against Man United. He actually got subbed off around the 80th minute, and I think that kind of echoed of Lothar Matthäus not being around when it came down to kind of crunch time. So whether he'd have stayed on the pitch and prevented Solskjaer and Scholes from scoring, but yeah, Bremer went on, scored that winner in the final. So a bit of a German legend, Andy Bremer, and he kind of played this roaming fullback role, probably one we see similar to these days that Pep is playing with John Stones and Trent Alexander-Arnold has been doing sometimes. But yeah, all in all, a fantastic player. Rudi Völler, who we've talked about in the send-off, he was played for Roma at the time. Top goal scorer in the Bundesliga in 82 and 83. He played in World Cup 86 with Germany, runner-up. He played in the Euros in 84 and 88, scored in all tournaments. Goes on to win the Italian Cup with Roma in 91, and was actually in that fantastic Marseille side that won the Champions League in 1993. At the time of this World Cup, Matthäus, I said 29, Klinsmann 25, Andy Bremer 29 as well, and Rudi Völler 30. So again, they're all in their prime. So this game is kind of full of players in their prime. Now, I'm 35 minutes into this game now, and Holland just haven't had an attack in quite a while. They just had one going forward, but Van Basten miscontrols the ball, unfortunately. But yeah, it's really knocked them back after that, after those red cards. I'm going to go forward to the second half because it's 0-0 at half time. There we go. Yeah, so second half I'm starting. It's 0-0 at half time and they're just coming out. Dutch are looking a bit more lively. Koeman just plays a great ball into Hullit's feet in the midfield and he plays it off nicely and puts Van Basten on the ball. Now I'm going to show you some Paul Parker's scored that goal. Yes, Paul Parker's yeah. I think Andy Bramer is the guy who's got his name on the score sheet. But yeah, Paul Parker's was the culprit. Now I've got some old stickers to show you. Now the Italia 90 stickers. This is Klinsmann in the German. You can see, unfortunately, it's in the training top, so you don't get that German kit that we see them wearing at the moment. And the Dutch, there's actually their old kit that they won the Euros in. Not the kit they played in this World Cup, which is unfortunate. Now, I think a lot of people will remember the Orbis Italia 90 album, but this is the Panini one. And I think these are more sought after these days than the Orbis stickers. This Van Basten one, you can see that's the standard back of an Italia 90 sticker that most people would recognize. This one has a different back because it's a Mexico issue. So it's a little bit harder to get a hold of. So I had to ship that over from Mexico. But you can see that's Van Basten's Italia 90 sticker with a Mexico. It's called a Hollanda back. A closer look at that. And there's a few different variations and backs you can get, which are quite interesting. Now, in terms of Klinsmann, this is his first ever sticker from his first season at Stuttgart, which are quite hard to get a hold of. But I just love the kind of original stickers that you see. The kit, the kind of designs of them and the kits and the haircuts. See that dinkle? She's just great. Klinsmann's hair all over the place. There's him a couple of years later, still at Stuttgart. And that's good. That's the Panini stickers. So in Germany, it's called Fußball or Fußball. So that's Fußball 85. That means it's from the 1984-85 season. Now in Holland, it's the I don't know, the earliest of Hullet stickers I've had is this one, which is from 1981, 82, and in Holland it's called Voetbal 82. Hold on, something's happening in the game. I missed a goal. I'm going to bring it back a little bit. So I'll just tell you about this goal. So we're 48 minutes in now. And ball goes out for a Dutch throw in the German half. Plays it into Van Basten, tries to flick it on, but doesn't quite make it to Hullet. But they retrieve possession. Koeman's got the ball quite high up the pitch. Tries to play a through ball. Just gets intercepted by German defender. Matthäus gets on the ball in the middle of the park, and he pretty rapid. To be fair, Matthäus, I didn't know he was. Plays it out wide to Klinsmann. Klinsmann back in the box. Goes to Matthäus. Keeper makes a great save. Matthäus is such a kind of box-to-box midfielder. He's probably like a Roy Keane style player, but better. He can play any position. He's just everywhere. But yeah, rises right above the defender to get that header in, and he's not tall, but he's had a big leap on in there, and he was unlucky not to get more from that. So Germany got it down the left wing now. Little finish past the keeper, lovely touch, and not pulling off the Klinsmann dive just yet for this World Cup, which was disappointing. But great goal, and puts Germany 1-0 up. Now that was Buchwald with the cross from the left wing for Germany, and beats his man, plays it in, quality goal, really good. So Klinsmann puts Germany 1-0 up. As I was saying, Hullit's earlier sticker, I've got to say too, his earliest sticker is actually from 1979, which is pretty hard to get hold of and costs a hell of a lot of money, and I don't have one, unfortunately. But as you see in Holland, it's called Voetbal or Voetbal, which is still Panini at the bottom, but for each country they have different names of stickers. That's the following season, 82-83. So you see he's with Haarlem there, which is where he starts, and then gets signed by Feyenoord. The one thing I like doing is actually kind of tracking a player's career with their stickers. You see he's still at Feyenoord, and that's 84-85. And then Van Basten, his rookie sticker is the same. He's in the team with Rijkaard in 1982-83 season, and that's the following year. Van Basten, he never changes the way he looks, really. He was with Ajax the whole time until he signed for Milan. Now I've got quite a lot of Van Basten at Milan. So you can see all the different stages of Van Basten in his Milan. So this is the classic Calciatori, which is the Panini Milan stickers. It was actually the first ever Panini stickers with a Calciatori in about 1960, I think. But there's plenty of Van Basten in this in the classic Milan kit. This is a kind of hologram. Don't know if you can pick that up. Card, which is quite cool. Yeah, maybe pick it up on the light. A few other Van Basten cards I've got. You can pick them up there. Various ones. Him lifting the Dutch Cup with Ajax. Finger in the air, scoring for AC Milan, and having an orange juice. Lovely stuff. This is in the Dutch kit. A couple of those in the Dutch kit, and I've got one there in a slab for AC Milan in 1987, which was the first year he arrived in AC Milan. Now Hullet, you can see that one in the Dutch kit. This is when Hullet's full moustache and dreadlocks, which is kind of the Hullet we want to see. In his Milan kit there, and another one. This is when he was kind of in his prime for AC Milan, as they all were, and a couple more you might like to see. There's the same sticker as the Van Basten one that you find. The Rijkaard, early Rijkaard stickers there in his Ajax days. Another one in his Ajax. Oh, Holland just had a great chance, actually. Just puts it past the post. I'm not sure who that was. Wouters again, it was. There you go. Just puts it past the post. But yeah, there's plenty of Rijkaard stickers. Another one done in the Tash. solidarity with Hullet. And that's when he returned back to Ajax. So that's 94, 95. So this is when he went back to Ajax and won the Champions League. And you see how big the sticker gets then. And I'm not sure if he was, I mean, you'd have players like Edgar Davids come into the team now. I'm not sure if this was when Brazilian Ronaldo, played at the same time as him, but it could well have been. Rijkaard obviously went on to manage Barcelona, to be only succeeded by Pep Guardiola. This is him in the Euro 88 stickers. As you can see, there's another training top kit, but this is where they won the sticker. But it's a shame he's not wearing the this kit in that sticker, because that's what they won it in. This is a shame. Ronald Koeman, there's an early sticker of Ronald Koeman. Ronald Koeman is probably, when I was growing up, potentially the player I hated the most, because he stopped us from qualifying for the 1994 World Cup, when he flicked one. He's going to flick one. He's going to flick one. He's flicked one, and scored a free kick in qualifying. Yeah, he's going to flick one. Scored a free kick in qualifying for the 94 World Cup, which put us out. And I definitely nearly cried. I might have cried, but it was pure hatred, because he should have been sent off in that game. Shouldn't have been on the pitch to flick that free kick in. And but he was, unfortunately, and which meant we didn't go to the World Cup. So I always had a small hatred for Ronald Koeman, and he, but you can't kind of deny he was a fantastic player, but he always just seems so dirty to me, so kind of full of dirty tricks. And I felt like that World Cup, that 94. So I was this match, 1990, I was too young to really appreciate Italia 90. And I do remember it, but I was too young to kind of get that emotionally involved about it. But 94, World Cup 94, I would have been 13, so at secondary school. And that World Cup would have just been everything we'd have talked about at school that entire summer in America. So exciting to see all those games going at the same time, because I remember watching the games. They were all on at good times for us to watch. I had a friend who had an Irish family, so I was going around his house to watch all the Ireland games. So jealousy of us not being there and not to experience that at that level, because the next World Cup that came along in 1998, I was leaving school, so I never got that. We had the Euro 96 while I was at school. That was the only real tournament I got to kind of experience at school, and I think for every kind of schoolboy or girl to experience a World Cup while you're at school, because it's all you and your friends talk about the entire every day, the entire time. It's all you're doing. Every time you play football, you're thinking you're different players and different teams, and yeah, to be robbed of that summer of '94 by Ronald Koeman, I can't ever forgive him. So Holland are making a sub. They had an injury. Kieft is coming on for Van Aal. Right back, and 67 minutes I'm on now. I've flicked forward a little bit, but yeah, not a huge amount has happened in the game. Just kind of controlling it a bit. The Dutch have had the odd chance here and there, but the Germans are kind of fully in control of this game now. You kind of think Van Basten hasn't looked like he's able to be as Van Basten-esque who you want now. Van Basten was known as the Swan because of his power and his grace and the way he played the game, and we haven't really got to witness that so far. And I don't think really did this entire World Cup, which is a real shame. Now Van Basten's probably potentially the saddest story in football, because he was so great. Like I said, one of the top two strikers of all time. Definitely, like in the top, everyone's kind of top 50 players of all time. Potentially everyone's top 10 players of all time. But he was just savaged by injuries. Like at 25 in this World Cup, he'd already had so many ankle surgeries and had before Euro 88, which he was 23. And he actually ended up having a surgery in 1993 or 92, where in Milan didn't want him to have it, but he kind of got advised by people and Dutch doctors. He's actually just gone in on Mateus, chasing back Lothar Matthäus and taking him down on the right wing, and got booked for it. So you can see he's getting frustrated that he just cannot get into this game. And so he had a surgery in 1993, and it was just to clean his ankle. And the AC Milan doctors were kind of telling him not to have this surgery. They advised him against it. They didn't think it was right, and he had it anyway. His advisors in Holland, and went and had the surgery, and had some complications, and actually had some infections. And they were saying he was kind of lucky just to walk again after what happened with it. So in 1993, 3 years after this game we're talking about today, is he got back into playing that season, but could never really get fully fit. And then the Milan were in the Champions League final, which he played the whole game, I think, and was notably limping and could barely move, and ended up being his final ever game, not only for Milan but in football. And he was only 28 years old. So for a player that a year earlier had won the Ballon d'Or, to then never play football again, is just such a sad tale, that you kind of think about a player nowadays who is one of the best players in the world, retiring at 28. It would be an absolute travesty. It would be talked about forever. And I mean, it just wouldn't happen these days, because you just wouldn't have those complications in surgery. You probably wouldn't have had all the surgeries he did have from the offset, which is just a real shame that we were kind of robbed of half the career of this incredible player. I mean, when you think about the fact Rijkaard was winning the Champions League, and he's older than Van Basten, winning the Champions League with Ajax, and Van Basten was long retired. So yeah, really, really, really sad. It's only 5 minutes in now, and Holland are kind of passing it around a bit, but they just can't get anywhere. The Germans are so well organised, so drilled. They just had it in midfield and just end up giving it away. And every time the Germans get it now, they're looking to break. They're kind of playing on a counter-attack. Oh! Long ball play forward on the counter-attack. Klinsmann takes it down. Right foot volley from the edge of the box. Hits the post. Fantastic effort from Klinsmann. Holland playing the ball in the box, but Hullet was clean through, but the whistle goes offside. Keep getting adverts come up. FIFA website. Not enough money. But yeah, I'm going to go through to the kind of final incidents in the game. So we've 10 minutes to go now in the game. And once this advert lets me carry on watching it, I'll tell you what's going to happen. And there we go. So yeah, I'm going to go forward a few minutes. But yeah, 10 minutes to go. And in Milan at the San Siro. Now, apparently there was a lot more German fans there than Dutch fans, which I'm surprised when you think about the Dutch fans now. They always say they travel well. The Orange Army, they call them, I think. But yeah, to think that this stadium is kind of more full of Germans is strange to see. But you can tell by the listening to the noise of the crowd, it is very much more like a home game for Germany. Every time the Germans go forward, there's huge eruptions from the crowd. Dutch trying to play it into the box again. Gullit trying to get on the end of it. Very much known for his heading. Doesn't quite manage it. I mean, Van Basten looked quite slight in stature, but apparently he was an absolute beast and really good at heading. And when you compare it to Brazilian Ronaldo, Germany break with the ball. Oh, Koeman! They were 2-on-1. Koeman does very well, cuts it out. You compare him to Brazilian Ronaldo. The one thing that people say Ronaldo couldn't do was head the ball, and Van Basten can definitely do that. Scored many headers, and probably compare Van Basten. He's been compared to Zlatan a lot, and probably Lewandowski, similar style as that, but a lot more kind of graceful. But he was able to score all different types of goals. Didn't quite have the same kind of explosive dribbling as Brazilian Ronaldo, but Van Basten's best performance against England in '88. Do you remember that one, Ron? I definitely don't remember much about England's performance in '88. I think it was pretty abysmal. Absolutely destroyed Tony Adams. Yeah, I bet he did. I might have to go and watch that one as well. But yeah, I mean, that was his tournament, wasn't it? '88. Absolutely iconic for that. Him and Gullit. That iconic image of Gullit lifting the trophy. Oh, Germany just got free. Matthäus is everywhere. Just gets taken down on the left wing again. But he's popping up on either wings, forward, backwards. This is Lothar Matthäus in his prime. Like when you say this should have been Van Basten's, and I said this should have been Van Basten's World Cup. I think this is Matthäus's World Cup, isn't it? As we know, he goes on to beat us in the semis, beat England, and then beat Diego Maradona's Argentina in the final. Which that final is known for being quite a poor game, but I don't think Germany give two shits about how good a game is as long as they win it. It's just a winning machine at this point. The Dutch are really open at the back now with 7 minutes to go. Just play the ball over the top. Oh, keeper saves it. Every time they get the ball now, Germany, they're breaking. The Dutch are just kind of really going for this equaliser now. Well, they just can't break Germany down. Germany should have been 3 or 4 up now. Yeah, German corner on the back of that. So I think Matthäus is taking the corner now. Ball comes in. Yeah, taken out to the left wing again. Going with him now. Klinsmann has a shot. Oh no, that was Bremer. Amazing goal. Bremer picks the ball up on kind of the corner of the box and just in with his right foot past the keeper. That's the tournament, and as I said earlier, he goes on to score 2 more than any defender to do that in a World Cup. Absolutely incredible. I don't think Andy Bremer gets talked about enough. I never hear anyone talk about him, but what a goal. And yeah, that's 2-0 Germany, 5 minutes to go. And that's game over for the Dutch. It's a real shame. It was such hype going into this tournament with the Dutch. European winners, best 3 players from the best team of all time. And unfortunately, that Rijkaard incident in the 21st minute. Bremer interviewed on Quick with Kevin Pogge. Yeah, I did listen to that actually, Ron. Yeah, I think I remember it. I remember thinking at the time, listening to him on that podcast, thinking, God, I'm surprised I've never heard him mentioned before. But yeah, he is. He was just a fantastic player, wasn't he? But yeah, he should really get talked about, because a lot of these modern fullbacks, I'd imagine the coaching is a lot of it. They're showing them videos of Andy Bremer saying, "This is how we want you to play." But yeah, it was. I wanted to watch this game just through the fascination of where these players were in their career at this time. The fact it was in the San Siro, with the Inter Milan and AC Milan connections, and yeah, Inter Milan, the Germans of Inter Milan come out on top and go on to win the World Cup in Italy. So all those Italian-based Germans lifting the World Cup in Italy is pretty incredible. But yeah, I'm going to wrap it up there. So thanks very much for joining me. I think Ron, you've been great company. I'll be editing this to make it into a podcast, and I'll do some short videos for social media about the players and the teams, and hopefully people get some enjoyment from that as too. So yeah, congratulations to the Germans.